Bungie is finally in control of their destiny. So what do they do next? What is happening? Mattmade here, bringing you the top 5 gaming news stories from this week. Let's get into it. First up, we have Nintendo is getting Final Fantasy ports. So the 3 Final Fantasy games that are getting ported to the Nintendo Switch are Final Fantasy X, X-2, and Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. Final Fantasy X and X-2 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch on April 16th, and Final Fantasy XII will be coming the 30th. Now, it's pretty cool that the Switch is finally getting some Final Fantasy titles, ports or otherwise, because it feels like it's been a very long time since Nintendo has gotten any sort of Final Fantasy game. Now, since you can get X and X-2, you're gonna get that Titus laugh, and you can show all of your friends, people on buses, planes, trains, whatever, just how bad that laugh scene is. Like, it is horrible, it is funny, and it's probably gonna get memed again. Now, to support the announcement, Square Enix has released some artwork made by Akihiko Yoshida. It looks amazing, it just personifies what the game is, and I just want to print it out and stick it on the wall somewhere. Next up, we have THQ Nordic acquires Outcast. Now, THQ Nordic has announced that they'd reached out to the 3 developers of Outcast and gotten the IP from them. Outcast is an open world action adventure game that was released by Appeal back in 1999. They're also a pretty dope rap duo, so definitely check them out. You know, they made Hey Ya, they made Roses. You know what I'm saying, go check them out, they're great. Anyway, what THQ Nordic is going to do with the IP is very uncertain, as the game was already remade back in 2017. Could we see a new installment? Could we see the characters in some different type of situation? Who knows, but I'm pretty interested in seeing this cult classic come back. Alright, now Bungie finally left Activision. Bungie and Activision have had a very rocky relationship, and they're finally parting ways after about 8 years of this partnership. Now, Bungie and Activision have had this relationship since back in 2010, so they've been working together for a long time. Now, since they're splitting up, Bungie is actually keeping Destiny. So they keep that, they can keep supporting it, working on it, making new installments and sequels or DLC, or whatever Bungie wants to do with their IP, they can do it, which is great news. I didn't like the way it was run before. I'm mad at the game for kind of gypping me. I'm very interested to see what Bungie does now that it's on its own and it's its own small independent studio. Now, Destiny 2 will still be staying on Battle.net. They're not changing clients, they're not changing services, and they highly doubt and don't foresee a service interruption on Destiny 2 for PC. And consoles, nothing changes. You're just still playing your game and you're none the wiser. Maybe they rip off the Activision logo if that's there somewhere. But this split definitely piqued my interest and made me curious about where Bungie's going from here on forward. Hopefully they don't keep any of the business practices they've had, because that's pissed a lot of people off, and I know many people are happy about this split. Even a lot of Bungie's employees and people over there are just ecstatic about not being a part of Activision anymore. Next up, we have some pretty interesting news. Division 2 is not going to be on Steam. Polygon broke this story, and what's happening is Ubisoft and Epic Games have made a partnership and teamed up, so a lot of Ubisoft's games are going to be on the Epic Game Store instead of Steam. This includes the Division 2 as well. Now, they'll also have the game available through their own online storefront, so you can buy it there and you can buy it at the Epic Game Store. However, as things stand, they currently have no plans to bring the game over to Steam. Now, this partnership is huge news for Epic Games, because their storefront is becoming more and more appealing to more people, because they've already got Fortnite, they have Supergiant Games, which take all my money, Supergiant, you can have it. They're having free games every 2 weeks roughly, and now they have Ubisoft, and I'm assuming they're working on other partnerships and other terms. So Epic is doing great with this. Now, this is another huge blow for Steam as more and more competitors step into the limelight. So not only do they have to deal with GOG, unfortunately G2A, and whatever client that developers create and large companies create to push their games, now they have the Epic Store literally coming for them and being in their space. But who knows, maybe we'll see Valve and Steam step their game up, make some changes try to make things more appealing, and we get like an interesting fight between these two competitors. Because it's a consumer's market, and wherever you're gonna go, you want the best deal. Except G2A. Never use G2A. For our last story, we're sticking with the Epic Game Store news. So the Epic Game Store didn't have a great refund policy before. However, now they're mimicking Steam's refund policy, which isn't bad and is pretty fair. Epic Games' Sergey Galankoin, Lord knows I just butchered that name, tweeted yesterday about this. So if you've played the game under 2 hours and it's been under 14 days, you can get a refund on the game. Now this almost exactly mirrors Steam's policy, which again, it's not a bad thing and it's not a bad policy. If you play a game for 30 minutes, or if the game is literally like an hour and a half long, you can go, hey, this was a ripoff, you give me my money back. And as a fledgling game client, that's just good business. That's just smart. It puts the consumer first and says, hey, we want to have a good relationship with you. On top of that, they're working on a self-service portal to make things easier and faster for everybody, which is amazing. Like, I love that idea. Keep that going, Epic. Keep doing what you're doing. It's really cool and really interesting to see a real big competitor when it comes to game clients and against Valve and Steam. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of today's show. Leave a comment down below talking about one or all of these stories. Are you happy Bungie's leaving Activision? Are you happy that Outcast is with THQ Nordic and something might be done with it? What are your thoughts? And don't forget, if you're a fan of gaming, consider striking that subscribe button and hitting the bell. This is Mattmade, and I will see you next week.